Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Good day. We're going to look a little more at this coffee shop interview. Transform your relationships and your business through great conversation. I should say through great love and concern for the other individuals you're trying to get to know and try to work with. We're going to go here real quick. 6 principles will help you get the most out of the interviews. 1. The center of the universe. You are not the center of the universe. Other people are. So you're going to be more interested in them. Pay attention to other people's lives as the secret to success. 3. It's probably better to be interested in them than to be interesting. Constantly move towards what is it in for you and what is it in for them. What is it in for them? That's the key. The more you contribute to the lives of others, the more you'll be given to you. Every meaningful interaction resolve that the other person will leave far better, feeling better about themselves than when they arrived. Now this is key, and we'll get into more of these details, but this is key. These are the right mindset. Let's get into these two that are talking about this.
Bounce the ball off my foot. I'm starting over. I'm going to be a professional network marketer. We've got this intentionality at a level that vibrates like you can't believe, because we finally realized that people, and Denise is going to talk about this in a second, because I've known it forever. They can't be a Tom Chenault. They can't be a Denise Chenault. They can't be a Mark. They can't be a Devine. But they sure as heck can be their best them. And if we can teach them to be their best them inside of a system to help them do that, being coached by other people instead of just Denise and I, because we are like supposedly someplace that takes a long time to get to. And once they realize they're working with people just like them, everything shifts. And Mark, you can't believe what's happened inside of this. It brings tears.
Are you for?
Go ahead.
There you go.
Sorry.
So, all right. So there's 65 things, obviously some tremendous dynamics in there. You know,
So you're talking about 65 days or 66 days to complete the training and to get them the right principles. I'm looking at that information. I don't have that yet, but I want to find out what their program is. Because if it's working that well and it's changing people that much, I need to find out what it is and use it.
Tribal by nature, and people want to belong. And to be in an environment where they're getting complimented or pats on the back versus criticized, obviously is going to make a difference. The peace of mind that comes from self-satisfaction of doing what you promised or committed to is a big thing. Is there a short list of things that they do, or are they creating all these commitments themselves? Is there some guidance on what to do?
Yeah. The only commitment. This is unbelievable. The only commitment is that you deliver me 2 great interviews a day and 1 3-way call, and you are in the game. But it seems like it's so.
2 commitments and 1 interview, and you're in the game. That might be a little more difficult, but you've got to get to that mindset and that habit.
Easy, you know, when I meet people, I can do 10 of those a day. I go, really? Why don't you give me 66 in a row at just 2, and we'll see it. Then we'll go to 10. And if you just do 2 and develop that muscle, you are like me. She will tell you that in 4 seconds of being in a restaurant, I am in absolute interview mode, authentically, without hurting anybody's feelings. And I am like kind of good at it. She's like really good at it. And by the time, I don't care whether it's a waitress or the table next to us, I am telling you, getting related because you're leading with your heart is so doggone easy. And what petrifies everybody after doing it 66 days in a row and they're worried about being phony, and they're worried about this and asking questions they shouldn't ask. It's a muscle, and all they do is walk out of there on the other side 10 times better at network marketing and being a human being than they ever were when they started, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, the diligence around 2 interviews and 1 3-way call. And the reason why it's 66 is that, statistically,
Now, we're talking about 2 interviews a day and 1 3-way call. So out of those 2 interviews, they want 1 3-way call, I assume, or so forth. So I've got to figure out how they do the system. But evidently it's life-changing, not only for the individuals that are doing it to get into the habit of doing that, but it's life-changing for their business as well as them personally.
we hear all sorts of things about how many days in a row you have to do something in order to create a habit. And really the number is on an average 66 days. And so 2 interviews, 1 3-way call a day for 66 days. You think about building your list with all those interviews and putting people in the pipeline. That's the other thing, is that we don't realize most people come in to network marketing thinking, oh, I think I can do this. I know 3 or 4 people that'll definitely sign up for me. And then they go to their best friend and their sister. And then when their mom says no, they go, okay, I'm out. Because they don't really realize that adding to your list daily is a skill that professional network marketers really become good at.
All right, so adding to your list of people you contact daily, you may have to go through 10 people a day to get 2 great interviews. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure the numbers are there, and I'm sure they get better. But maybe you have to interview 3 or 4 to get 2 good interviews. And maybe you have to go through 10 or more people to get 2 or 3 or 4 interviews to get just 2 a day. But going through those numbers daily means that you're in this professionally. You're not just being an amateur. You're doing this. So 2 interviews, 1 3-way a day. That's one of the keys. 2 interviews, like they're doing it, 2 interviews, and 1 3-way per day. That's what it takes to become professional. And you're looking at the 66 days, doing this for 66 days. Actually, you're looking at doing this forever. But you're at least getting this habit started in 66 days. Think about that. This is a professional level.
And if you look at all the masters, they're all putting their spikes on every morning. They're on the court doing it. They're teaching people to do it. They show people how to do it instead of tell people how to do it. And that's the secret to success here. And I am telling you, it is so fun. And I've watched you do it. You're one of those guys that puts your spikes on and gets on the field. And that's why I recommend you as a trainer and a mentor, because you're not afraid to put your spikes on. And all these false prophets who have never built a business in their life, ever, out there, and they failed, so they decided to train the profession to fail. It is a crazy maker to me when all you need to do is train this tiny skill and everything shifts. And that takes it one step. Were you going to ask me something?
Yeah.
Were you going to ask me a question?
Well, no, I was
Kind
going
of
to
looked like
say
you were
I'm
talking.
having this wonderful deja vu, because I finally came across a great mentor in '95, and he said, "You've got to do 3 things to make a lot of money." He said, "Where are you standing?" And I told him, and he said, "Is the TV in that room?" I said, "No, it's in the other room." He said, "Okay, unplug the TV. You got any other TVs in the house?" And I said, "Yeah, one upstairs." And he said, "Unplug that one." He said, "Go get a pair of scissors and cut the cord." So I did. I cut the cord on the TVs because you'll be tempted. He said, "That's one thing. The next 2 things you have to do, I'm going to tell you, it's impossible. okay? But that's just really a state of mind. He said, you get 2 new names and numbers and you talk to 1 person a day. He said, in the end of a month, he said, you'll have the habit. He said, you know, he said, so I talked to him.
Okay, so here's Mark J. He's saying get 2 new names a day. And what else?
He said, is the TV in that room? I said, no, it's in the other room. He said, okay, unplug the TV. You got any other TVs in the house? And I said, yeah, one upstairs. And he said, unplug that one. He said, go get a pair of scissors and cut the cord. So I did. I cut the cord on the TVs because you'll be tempted. He said, that's one thing. The next 2 things you have to do, I'm going to tell you it's impossible. Okay, but that's just really a state of mind. He said, you get 2 new names and numbers and you talk to 1 person a day. He said,
2 new names and numbers, and you talk to 1 person a day. One person a day. Talk to 1 person a day. Wow.
in the end of a month, he said, you'll have the habit. He said, you know, he said, so I talked to him about 20 days in, and I said, it's not possible to do it, is it? He said, no, would you find out? I said, I'm getting 4 or 5, 6 names a day, and I'm talking to 2 or 3 people. He said, is it getting easier? I said, yeah, it's getting easier. He said, that's all there is to it, pal. Have a great career. And that was it. And I love what you're doing. You just brought that, you know, you can't get 2 names and talk to 1 person a day. You'll just start doing more. Is that what you find?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because what he taught me was, he said, if you get 10 on Monday, 10 new names on Monday, he said, that doesn't count for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And that's what you're teaching, right? Just the consistency.
Consistency, and the learning curve then becomes so much faster because they're actually taking action in their business as opposed to hiding out behind, you know, being on conference calls and doing all the learning, you know, to acquire the skills. You're actually, you know, you're learning it as you go. And so the learning curve is much faster as well.
The muscle is developed, and it is so cool watching it. And so then they say, what do I do? How do I do this? And so we use something called a brick rank in our company. And everybody talks about the diamonds and the super diamonds. You know, when you look at this business, this profession, the average person signs up 2 people in the entire time they're in. So what we do, because we're so arrogant as big leaders that make all this money, is we expect everybody to be like somebody that brought in 15, 20 people. You know what? That's not duplicatable. And so with Denise and I, we figured out where our brick rank was in our company, and it's a low bar. It's a really low bar. In our company, you have to do 200 yourself, and you have to have 3 people doing 100 each. And in 3 levels, you have to have 1,000 volume, which is not big. That's 1,000 volume total. And most network marketers could do that overnight, but I'm not interested in the network marketers. I'm interested in the average human being. And the average human being with that brick rank is building a brick. And once that average human being can build a brick,
and knows they can build a brick.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You build a brick, then you know you can build a brick, and you go build another brick. Right. And then you know you can build another brick, and you build another brick. And then you know you can build another brick, and you build another brick. Once you've built 2 or 3 or 4 of those, you know you can teach people to build bricks. And once you build those bricks like that, you've got yourself a brick wall. You have got a foundation. That's right. My foundation, Tom Chenault's foundation, is extremely strong because it started at rock bottom. That's what's so exciting about mine, because I built that thing on absolute bedrock of rock bottom, which is the most exciting. And what I wish for all of you with everything I've got is not to be whatever the top rank is in your company. I don't wish for you to get your health back and be a hockey stick with hair. I wish for you to have the gift of desperation to go find what it is you desperately want. Because where I am in my life and where I have been in my life and where I've had any shift that was meaningful was when I got the gift of desperation to go do it. Tell me that's not
awesome.
cool.
It's the best, and you and I have.
All right, we're going to stop this here. I'm going to go and make some notes. All right, we're going to go back here and review his brick and his gift of desperation.
Out behind, being on conference calls and doing all the learning, to acquire the skills. You're actually, you're learning it as you go. And so the learning curve is much faster as well.
The muscle is developed and it is so cool watching it. And so then they say, what do I do? How do I do this? And so we use something called a brick rank in our company. And everybody talks about the diamonds and the super diamonds. When you look at this business, this profession, the average person signs up 2 people in the entire time they're in. So what we do, because we're so arrogant as big leaders that make all this money, is we expect everybody to be like somebody that brought in 15, 20 people. You know what? That's not duplicatable. And so with Denise and I, we figured out where our brick rank was in our company. And it's a low bar. It's a really low bar. In our company, you have to do 200 yourself, and you have to have 3 people doing 100 each. And in 3 levels, you have to have 1,000 volume, which is not big. That's 1,000 volume total. And most network marketers could do that overnight, but I'm not interested in the network marketers. I'm interested in the average human being. And the average human being with that brick rank is building a brick. And once that average human being can build a brick,
and knows they can build a brick.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You build a brick, then you can build a brick, and you go build another brick. Right. And then you can build another brick, and you build another brick. And then you can build another brick, and you build another brick. Once you've built 2 or 3 or 4 of those, you can teach people to build bricks. And once you build those bricks like that, you've got yourself a brick wall. You have got a foundation. That's right. My foundation, Tom Chenault's foundation, is extremely strong because it started at rock bottom. That's what's so exciting about mine, because I built that thing on absolute bedrock of rock bottom, which is the most exciting. And what I wish for all of you with everything I've got is not to be whatever the top rank is in your company. I don't wish for you to get your health back and be a hockey stick with hair. I wish for you to have the gift of desperation to go find what it is you desperately want. Because where I am in my life and where I have been in my life and where I've had any shift that was meaningful was when I got the gift of desperation to go do it. Tell me that's not
awesome.
Cool.
It's the best, and you and I have that common story. You went this morning. I'm going tonight. A candlelight meeting, right? A stick meeting. So, and it's just brick by brick. That's the whole thing. So, just for people that may be brand new, your company has a fundamental first rank, whatever it is, $1,500 a month, and 2 people sponsored, or 3 people sponsored, and 1,000. You just teach that one, and because every pin level is based on a lot of those being piled together. And so they do it with you, and then they do it again with you, and then they start doing it with the people that they enrolled, teaching them to build 1 brick at a time. Let's not worry about double diamond, pooper duper scooper, platinum pinhead. Let's just build some more bricks, right? Okay.
That's totally it. Yeah, that's totally it. Yep.
And by using that brick rank, we've had some extraordinary success stories of people that they knew they couldn't be a double diamond pooper scooper, but they knew they could build a brick. And the next thing they They were
And
on their
they
way
were,
to
yeah.
Double Diamond Pooper Scooper.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
really, really exciting because, you know, our success is unbelievable. I mean, we have an incredible life. We travel the world. We've got everything we want. But our greatest joy is helping alcoholics and drug addicts and helping these ordinary people in our business become extraordinary in their lives. And to have that is a gift from God. And the reason that I go to AA every day, and I know the reason you go to AA every day is for the same reason. And that is A, to stay sober, B, to help that next alcoholic stay sober, and C, to make sure that you're not believing that you're as hip, slick, and cool as your paycheck is trying to tell you you are. Because I'm just, you know, I get out there and I'm just gonna, you know, over there somebody's gonna tempt me, man. If I don't check in every day, my ego and brain get the best of me and I'm back in the gutter and I don't want to go back there, Mark.
Yeah, ego returns, right? Well, the interesting thing is, since we're having this out in the open, is really, you know, when people say, how do you build a business? I say it's really simple. When I'm sitting in a coffee shop and it sounds like that's what you guys do, I say it's really simple. You got to be honest, you got to be open-minded, and you got to be willing. You know, and there it is again, right? The how.
What a core.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, you know. And when I get off track, I know the answer's in those 12 someplace. But so you have the coffee shop interview, which isn't always.
Now, again, this is AAA principles, Alcoholics Anonymous. Being genuine and honest and helping others. These are part of their principles. These don't go away. They're eternal.
He's in a coffee shop, right? You know, for me, that was pay dirt. And but that was the second meeting, and of course I'm going back. You said something interesting that I just wanted to make a comment on, and that was about the internet. And I hope you're hearing, Tom. Great tool. It's not going to build your business, and the more people migrate to it and think that it is, celebrate that, because they are not competition for you. People join people. That's what they join. And the wonder of being able to stand next to another human being and have a conversation with them, that's the ultimate adventure anyway. Because you really don't know what's going to happen. And each person you're standing to, if someone really understands science, it's an absolute miracle. Each person has about 35 trillion
I don't know if this is holding up, but
cells in their body. Each cell is comprised of 100 trillion atoms. That's a lot of pieces. Those atoms are 99.98% nothing. And the only reason that we don't collapse into atomic dust is the electrons are moving at 40,000 miles a second. But the key is they are all in perfect harmony with themselves. And that conversation is to try to help that person I'm getting from you get in harmony with themselves and what they really want and who they really are. So you draw that out of them simply by complimenting them, finding something about someone to initiate the conversation, and then you don't interrogate them, but you have, because you're laying down your agenda. And key takeaway here for me is your agenda is their agenda. And you want to find that out, right? Not to pounce, but to collaborate. Is that basically what you're trying to do?
That's it. You're looking at me. No, that's absolutely it. Yeah, you're there to serve them. It's, you know, I think that the evolution in network marketing over your career usually starts out selling to sharing to serving, you know, and when you're in that place of serving where your agenda is totally off the table, it's all about them, then it's just such a magical place, and you never know what's going to come out of that relationship. And going back to what you just said around the internet, you know, here's the thing is all this, the social media is all wonderful to connect, but do you really want to place your entire business in somebody else's hands where the fate of an algorithm can change overnight and your business collapses?
Right, exactly. Well, I found that it was so great, and the real comment I wanted to make was you identified yourself as old school. I don't think it's old school. I think it's manners. I think it's service, and I think it's authentic caring. And that, well, no matter what kind of millennial state that someone's in, that is never going to go away. And I'm finding the people like yourself, the biggest factor in the success is you actually know how to have a conversation with another human being. And that's what we're really talking about, and find out what their agenda is, and then you call them back.
Yeah.
That's the basic. How difficult is that, right? It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Right.
So we got our brick principle. We got the coffee shop. Anything else that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, your authentic best self and being vulnerable is the most important part. And Denise and I, when we got married, had a hell of a time because I was already a huge network marketer. And she was this beautiful.
I was nothing.
No, she was this beautiful, beautiful person that I loved with all my heart. And all I wanted her to do was be just like me. So here's what we do. I love you, I love you, I love you. Marry me now, change. It's kind of how I did it. I love you, I love you, I love you. Marry me now, change. And I wanted you to be me. And I didn't want her to be me. I wanted, you know, but I thought I did. But finally, we figured out she was a terrible me. And fortunately, she got a mentor that was 10 times better than me. And that mentor really got her in touch with the skills of network marketing, but more importantly, the greatness of DENICE CHENAULT. You talk about it, because now she, you know, she was on the stage at Eric Worre 2 years in a row. She is bad to the bone, and it's all about authenticity and being real and loving people. And she's better at being her by a long shot than I am at being me. And she is a rock star success in her own right, using those skills. And she's a terrible Tom, but she's a hell of a DENICE CHENAULT.
Well, what's come out of it is that, you know, the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. You know, so by me becoming more of who I wanted to be, which, you know, for me, I'm a great support system. I'm a great support. But what I really wanted to be is I wanted to challenge myself more. I wanted to get out there more. I really wanted to step into my power, which is a very scary place when you haven't done it very often. And so I started looking at, who do I admire? Who can I emulate? Who can I listen to? And that's when things started to shift, is when I was willing to be courageous enough to step through my fear into my power. And being on stage, you know, the funny thing is both Tom and I are introverts. And so, and I used to teach back years ago with my ex-husband. I used to teach a personal growth course, but it was in front of, you know, let's say 10, 20 people. It wasn't in front of a room of 5,000. And so, you know, saying yes to something and then figuring out how I was going to do it, I knew in saying yes, I was like, what an honor. But at the same time, holy, like what have I just said yes to? But I knew that the goodness was going to be in saying yes and figuring that, stepping into that fear and doing it anyway, because we ask people to do that all day long. So, and human beings don't like to be uncomfortable. That reptilian brain part of ours says, no, don't do that. It's too scary, And so that's really when things started shifting. And what came out of it is a much better relationship and greater teamwork.
Yeah. And we know what we're good at, and we know what we're not, and we know what we love to do, and we know what we don't want to do. And now at this point in our life, we don't do what we don't want to do. So this business isn't hard for us anymore because we found people that want to do what we don't want to, and we surrounded ourselves with that. So we have got this tremendous relationship every day of getting up in the morning and living it until we go to bed that night. And that's what we want for each and every one of you, is having that ability to have such a powerful relationship with your day that you pop out of bed and you go to sleep kicking and screaming because you don't want to go to sleep yet. So cool.
So cool. So basically be yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Instead of
be more than yourself. There's that little piece in you that says you can do more. And that's the piece that you can do more, you can be more, you can, and I was hiding out especially because Tom is so powerful, and that I could hide out behind him, but that hiding out just wasn't comfortable any longer. Mm-hmm. It hurt my heart.
I so wanted to be you. I so wanted to be Eric Worre. I so wanted to be John Milton Fogg. I so wanted to be all those guys, and I would learn it and I would say it, and it came out of my mouth so poorly that I finally said, you know what, this is for the birds. I'm a terrible John Milton Fogg. I've got to get to be an unbelievable Tom Chenault. Right. Figure out who the heck I really am, what I'm really good at, what I can really do, and go do it. And that's what we've done. We figured out who the heck we are, and we figured out how to monetize it. And what's so cool about that is literally every one of you can do that and have a blast doing it. This business, if this was, and you alluded to corporate America a little while ago, and I can't stand it when people tell people how bad corporate America is. But I'm going to tell you, if you've got the courage to shift and really explore making a change where you can live your life powerfully on your terms, there's a lot of risk involved in this business because most people fail at it. But I'll tell you what, you push that pig through the python snake long enough, it's going to work for you, and it is going to be a life like you never dreamt possible. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I just love what you're saying. I mean, we were told that over 3,000 years ago. It says, thou shalt not bear false witness. And it doesn't mean don't lie. That's obvious. It means if I'm not behaving true to myself, I'm bearing false witness. And so I hear you saying, be Tom Chenault, be Denise, because the truth is, well, I think the biggest thing that makes you guys so authentic, and why we're so excited that you're on this summit, is that you're just yourselves. And that little vulnerability, those little stumbles that you've had, that you can take them with a sense of humor and keep moving. Like Davine likes to say, she stole that out of some song someplace. You either win some or you learn some. And that's just...
I can't tell you how important it is to be your best divine self. We'll talk about divine nature more. Anybody that has seen my religious videos knows that I've talked about revelation, talk about scriptures, talk about communication with God, prayer, and talk about being true to your best inspired self, your heart, your best inspired thoughts, best inspired desires, and your best desired truth and nature. as you are true to these things, you can't help but grow and become better in every area of your life. As you review your day and review what you've done, and you think, how can I work becoming better in these areas? I don't care if it's weight loss, I don't care if it's loving people, loving yourself, loving others, serving others, committing to that love. And this is life changing, and it's divine in its power and eternal in its scope. And as we perfect ourselves in these areas, you become like Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother are. So that's my story and that's my belief, and I'm sticking to it because it blesses so many people by doing that and teaching that. And this is part of what they're teaching, even though they don't know it.
An attitude of losing self-consciousness and being yourself in front of other people, because that's the real thing. They join people, and it's just like, I don't know, a couple that gets married and somebody's been pretending for they wake up 4 years later and say, I'm not really the person. This is who I really am, you know? And it's the same in business. People want to know who they're getting in partnership with, and that little vulnerability in us really helps people feel more confident moving forward, as odd as it seems. So I got the big takeaway here for me really was make their agenda, your agenda is making their agenda your agenda. One or two key takeaways that you want people to get here, just to wrap up.
Stop making it so hard. Find a mentor that's done what you want out of this business. And Mark is a classic example of that. He's done it. He knows how to do it. Follow that mentor. And you're going to waver off the path because that's human nature, but waver back to the path, because what I have found over the years is most of the people in my life that have wavered away never came back. And what I want you to do is understand that where you are right this minute is where God wants you to be right this minute. And where your people are right this minute is where God wants them to be right this minute. So stop playing God. Be the best person that you can be. Train them as well as you can. If they waver off the path, love them till they come back and join you again, because it was attraction, not promotion. And you're standing there in that same spot, going down that same path. They went out there in that rocky water. They came crawling back, and you didn't kick them off the dock. You said, welcome home. I guarantee you that after you're an old dinosaur like Denise and I and see all these people swimming back towards you, you did the right thing, even though you wanted just to step on their head. So I'm just telling
All right, let's resume this.
you, go right back to where I was. Love like crazy, then love more. And don't get your ego into it, because people are going to drift because it's human nature. So that's my one takeaway tip. And I don't know where it even came from. It's just when you said it, that's what was there for me. So what about you?
I think for me,
Let's take that one-way tip again.
Right this minute. So stop playing God. Be the best person that you can be. Train them as well as you can. If they waver off the path, love them till they come back and join you again, because it was.
Now remember love and the power of love and having fun in this business. Be genuine in that, and I think you'll eventually get there if you have enough time and enough skill, enough success.
Attraction, not promotion. And you're standing there in that same spot going
Another key, attraction, not promotion.
down that same path. They went out there in that rocky water. They came crawling back, and you didn't kick them off the dock. You said, welcome home. I guarantee you that after you're an old dinosaur like Denise and I and see all these people swimming back towards you, you did the right thing, even though you wanted just to step on their head. So I'm just telling you, go right back to where I was. Love like crazy, then love more. And don't get your ego into it, because people are going to drift because it's human nature. So that's my one takeaway tip. And
Love like crazy, don't let your ego into it. I think my ego was the biggest problem. As I'm older, though, I need to change.
And I don't know where it even came from. It's just when you said it, that's what was there for me. So what about you?
I think for me is, step into your courageousness.
Yeah.
Because that's really for me where things started to shift. It got to be so uncomfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
And it really, every time you step into your courageousness, you are showing other people that they can do the same thing.
I think not only the courage to do that, but the consistency to do that, but the love to do that, to have them know that they can love their best selves and to love and serve others and be blessed multiple ways beyond just money. People need more emotionally out of their work than just income. Income's great, but it's not everything.
And this is just, it's a giving business. Yeah, it's really all about serving and about loving on people and knowing that, you just can't control somebody else's timing. And when people's lives are going along pretty comfortably, they're maybe not ready to see the opportunity that you have available for them. What?
Mark, we can't leave yet.
Oh, gosh.
You have to respect somebody else's timing. That's the whole deal. She hit the nail on the head.
Oh, I thought I said something
You
wrong.
know, you said something so brilliant.
Oh, good.
You're never ready till you're ready. And that's what makes me so crazy is when I sit down and I do an unbelievable presentation for one of my best friends in my life, and 2 weeks later I find out he signed up in some garbage deal with a stranger. It was because it was his time. It had nothing to do with me. It was his time. And if I love people enough, when his time comes true, because I made him feel so good, he's going to call me on the phone. But don't throw your agenda at other people. Just let them make their decision to come to you instead of you chase them. That's what she meant to say.
Good job.
Well, I think if they'll do what there's two brilliant things. Usually we say, if you're starting over, usually I'm saying, if you're starting over, give us a couple of do's and don'ts. But I'm going to take a liberty here because what you guys shared is so simple and so brilliant. The first thing, of course, is they won't worry about their best friend signing up if they're doing 2 coffee shops a day and 1 3-way a day. They'll have more people coming in than they can handle anyway for themselves or their teammates. So 2 and 1, folks, 2 and 1. And of course, when they do come in, brick by brick, right? Build that first pin level. Don't worry about the 5th, 10th, or the double diamond, pooper scooper, platinum, ruby, emerald pin level, right? Don't worry about that. Just fantastic to have you guys on. Thanks so much for your sage advice, your kind words. I'm feeling the love. It's really great. And we're so appreciative. We can't wait for you guys to get back over here again. And we're actually going to France in 2 weeks, which is a result of network marketing. We're there for 2 weeks. And I said, if Chenault can go to Amsterdam, the Chenaults can go to Amsterdam, then I'm going to take my wife to the French Open because she's always wanted to go to
Wow, that's awesome.
a Grand Slam tournament. But I'm going to tell you, I got there exactly the way Tom told you and Denise told you. 2 people a day, add a couple in that 10-minute coffee or the coffee interview that you call it. I call it the 10-minute coffee. Doesn't make any difference. We're talking to people. Make their agenda your agenda, and it'll all work out in the end. So peace be the journey. God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Davine. We love you both.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. See you later.
All right, so this is from the Recruiting and Duplication Mastery Summit. I bought the course and I'm trying to get it, but I'm having a tough time giving me the permission to get in. But I'm going to keep going through these things and doing them because it's super important that you learn these basic skills and have the mindset to know once you can build that first, get that first level or get that first paycheck, it doesn't matter. If you can learn and build people, what does it take to get the first paycheck? Each business I have at least 4 or 5 businesses I'm doing at the same time. And people say that's crazy. And I say, no. It depends on the business and where the people are at. I have a website. It only takes them to sign up 2 people, and they're in profit. That's the first brick. Teach them how to get 2 people. On the other one, it takes less than 2. You're in profit, almost in profit the first time you sell it. But maybe they're not into digital stuff. Maybe they're not into building groups. So I've got a group that program. You just take your money and invest it and have it work on artificial intelligence. That's another way. I have 2 health companies. I got to find out in both those health companies now, what does it take to get a paycheck in either one of those companies? And one is Nature Sunshine and one is Neolife, GNLD. So I've got to find out what it takes to build a check in either one of those companies. That's my assignment. And I got to get good. I've done all these webs, all these videos, and all this YouTube stuff. But I got to switch and I got to start going through leads and people that I already have. People I already have. And I got to start using some of these opening conversation things and go through 2 more people a day and get to 1 3-way a day. That's the foundation. I gotta get that done for 66 days. I need to do that for 90 days. Over 2 months, I need to do it for 3 months. So 2 interviews and 1 3-way. Now I got to figure out on this 3-way how we're going to do that. I've got an upline in each one of these things, and some of these companies do not do 3-ways. I'm sure Mark Korn can do a 3-way. I'm not so sure my wealthy affiliates can do a 3-way. I've got to find out in my 2 health companies who my upline is and who I can do 3-ways with. So that's another part of this I've got to figure out. So I've got some homework to do to move me forward and to get me in the habit of doing these simple things. Again, may you learn to understand how to love people and serve people and help them make their first check, help them teach others to make their check, and as you build on these bricks of making them income, everything else will come. Again, God loves you, wants to be your best, but you got to work on skills to be your best. And work on the love and duplication service. Again, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. May the Lord be with you and bless you as you bless others. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.